Hi guys, good morning. So today we are starting our master program, Azure master program. So today is a day one, and this master program includes three modules, which is AZ 104, 500, and 700. So for initial 2 days, we are showing as in workshop. We decided to deliver two topics. So Robin is the trainer for this. So Robin, over to you. We'll start with the introduction and the topic what we decided. Guys, we are starting in 1 minute. Be online. And guys, this is going to be a weekend batch, like a Saturday, Sunday, 11 a.m.
Hey, Gabriel, I think we can chat in another 2 minutes, right?
Good to go, Robin. We can start now.
Okay, thank you, team. So happy Saturday and welcome everyone for AZ 104 Microsoft Azure Mastering Training Program by Networkings. My name is Robin. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and last 2 decades, it's been working as a cloud architect and working as a solution architect for the cloud security and the infrastructure side here. About my experience on in other technologies, I'm holding a couple of certifications on in a GCP, AWS, and was been part of a solution team for the Active Directory and the Entra ID here. So Gaurav has been already given a heads up about this training course here. So this we are planning to deliver it on in the weekends here. So basically we are focusing on the people who has been working here, so they can spend and learn, especially on in the weekends here. Every week we'll have 1 to 2 hours of the session, so the detailed instruction will be shared by the uh, Gaurav and the team on the facility side here. And all the sessions are recorded here, and you will have a getting the additional material for the assessment, case study, real time scenario based questions, which will give you some additional confidence on in your clearing this certifications or badges here. So this training it's going to be more focused on in the real time case study scenario based practical oriented discussion. Certification is the secondary year, because our intention whenever networking is to deliver the training program, we are trying to enable the people here rather than just getting some certificates or enabling you for a certification program. We are focusing on into what really need on in the ground. That means especially on in the market. There's a way normally we used to deliver the program here. That's about the heads up about this program here. Since we have only around 20 people here, let's have a small intro from each and everyone here. You can just give a intro about your background currently, from which vertical you have been working, and your expectation, and what is your current knowledge about Azure also. We can just go around the table here. I hope you can able to see my screen as well. Great. So let's go around the table very quickly here. We can just take 1 or 2 minutes for giving a small intro from your side. Let's start with Harish here. Hey, Harish, good morning. Harish, I hope I'm audible to you. And Gauru, I think mic is being enabled for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
enabled. They
yeah,
can speak.
yeah, yeah. So let's team. Let's respond, because let's try to make this session is been more interactive. So that the reason like we are delivering a ILT based training here, the chat and the mic is been enabled because we want the session to be more practical oriented and interactive way. So you can ask a lot of the questions what really coming on in the market, or what really going to happen on in the Azure technology here. So you can ask such kind of a questions here, so that will give you a lot of confidence when you go back after completing this training program here. So Harish, if can you have a small intro from your side? Let's go to Raj here. Hey, Raj, go. Good morning. Deva, Sunil.
Yeah. One minute.
Yeah.
Not Deva. I'm not Deva. It's my son name. I'm
Okay, because
Someshwar.
okay,
Yeah,
your name has been showing. It's been Deva, maybe.
it's my son name actually.
Ah, okay. Great.
Right. I'm Someshwar Rao. Right now, I'm working in the TCTS. My
Okay.
background is like R&S, routing and switching. I'm working for ISP TTL. Okay.
Okay.
So I would like to know about the cloud related to our R&S.
Okay.
First thing, and what is the opportunities about the cloud compared to my previous experience? I would like to know for this from this session.
Great. So you basically are coming from a network background and
Yes, correct,
handling the break fix or the BAU operation for the networking or it's a routing and switching background. Yeah,
correct.
that's great.
Especially ISP side, Internet
Okay,
Service
good, good,
Provider.
good. I made a note of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to Sunil. Sudeep.
Uh, Hi, sir. Morning.
Good morning, Sudeep.
Myself, Sudhir Gupta. I'm working as an IT system engineer. I work for a broadcast company. So at the moment, some of the servers, like in our environment, they are moving to the cloud, AWS,
Okay,
and we also have Azure as well. And that's the reason I'm just trying to focus on I'm trying to put my foot on the cloud domain, just to understand how things works.
okay, great. And you mentioned about you're working as a system engineer or an infrastructure engineer. So you're
Yeah.
working on in the Windows or a Linux, which background you'll be
Working
using?
on mostly Windows, and there's some Linux servers as well. So
Okay. So you have
but
experience on Windows
yeah,
side.
we use a lot of Nutanix.
Okay. So the this Nutanix is the hyperscaler you are using, right?
Yeah,
Great.
yep, that's correct. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sudhi. Let's go to the next person. Pawan, Vishal, Kenwa, Maiti.
Hi, Kanwa here.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So, like, I've been working as well. I'm working as systems engineer. So, I'm basically based in Melbourne at the moment.
Okay.
So, I work for local department, like state department over here in Melbourne. So, I also basically work on all the technologies related to Windows, and we work on Citrix as well,
Okay. So
and and
Citrix.
VM Horizon. Yeah, and VM Horizon.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a AVD as well and a WVD and Citrix knowledge as well, right?
Yeah, I have it there.
Great.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah, so we work on like few of the softwares which like I basically work for Department of Health over here. So like we work on the softwares as well, like the databases and every stuff.
great, thank you. And do we have any Azure components or Azure platform in
Uh,
your in
yeah, we have, but that's like very limited, you know. They are basically on physical servers at the moment, not on the cloud. Like they have like just like few of the applications which are published on Azure cloud. That's it.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
basically in the future there is a possibility that we may migrate from a on-premises to cloud. That means there is a possibility of a lift and shift migration, right, Kinva?
Uh, yeah, it depends, you know, on the
Depends on the
like
client,
the
right?
policies of the like, you know, client as well.
Yeah, because some organization there is a reverse transition also coming. So we cannot say that
Yeah.
after a few years they will be migrating to the cloud here because you maybe already heard like there is a reverse migration also started across the globe here. So
Yeah.
rather than going on into the cloud, few people are going coming back to our on-prem also. So there is a possibility of staying back with your legacy or on-premises. Possibilities are
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, Robin. Because in our environment as well, most of
Okay.
the things we move to the AWS,
Okay.
and and the budget, it blew the budget up. So we are trying to
So
get some of the service back to the on-prem now.
yeah, that's the reason. Like Sudeep, you maybe notice like people have started using a concept called 80-20 rule here, right? So maybe like a few years before, or even like if you take it 2 years before, India, the CXO or the CTO leadership has been mostly they have been pushed for cloud is the first strategy, and almost 100% of the resource they have been started migrating on into the cloud. But after moving they start understanding that the cost or the workload assessment, there is a lot of impact on the cost side here. So that's the reason like nowadays they are starting like all the CBAS applications or critical components like Active Directory or a couple of the InfoSec component, everything it's been hosting on in the on-premise itself. Rather than going on in 100% lift and shift migration to the cloud, 20% still we are holding on in our own on-premises here. So reverse transaction. And you maybe read recently there is in one article. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot the company name. They migrated to the cloud, and now they have been done a reverse transition to this on premises, and they have been saved around 100 million or something. They have been saved in their infrastructure cost. They had around 2 to 3 lakhs of servers across the globe on in 150 plus countries. So they have been saved a lot of budget here. So market both the side it's been happening. Most of the companies like because of a dependency issue we have been migrating onto the cloud, and there is a reverse transition also it's been happening here. So as a cloud SME or an architect, uh, we want to learn how on-premises has been working, and the same time parallelly we want to know how this cloud technology has been working also. Both it's been needed now. So that's the reason like you maybe heard about there is a new concept also it's been start evolving, something called as SRE role also. You maybe heard about DevOps, right? That's going to be replaced in another 2 years with the help of a new concept called SRE role here. It started with the Netflix, and slowly it's been moved on into Google now. Almost all the big four organizations, IBM or all the tech companies has been started opting a role called SRE here. Here DevOps is going to be or system administrator role, possibly another 1 or 2 years is going to be replaced with this SRE role here. SRE is something like the person who got a cloud knowledge, the person who got a automation knowledge, the person got a on-premises knowledge, and the person who's got like a ITSM role also. It's like Hardik Pandya role. Like you will do batting, bowling, keeping everything. So that is a new technology has been coming. Anyway, that's been good. So I think Roshan and Prithvi also has been joined here. Hey Roshan, we can have a small intro from your side.
Yeah, actually, I'm from the network security domain. So
Okay.
I have a 9 years of experience, and I work for Reliance Geo, and currently working for Toyo Engineering. So basically, this is a EPC company, not like IT. And basically, we look for the security domain. But right now, we are shifting our DR to Azure. So basically, I'm just getting the overview from your side about the cloud and Azure. So after that, I will think about to do the course also.
Okay, great. So you're coming from a network security background here, right?
Yeah.
So checkpoint, Palo Alto, or
Palo Alto. Basically,
Palo.
I work on Palo Alto, and previously I worked for Fortinet.
Okay, great. So in our training module, we'll be covering a few module related to the network security here. You maybe
Okay.
heard about firewall, like
Yeah.
you may be using a checkpoint, right? So we are trying to see like what is the equivalent service which can be run on in a cloud here. So we'll be covering something called
So
as
we are running the VM of Palo Alto on the Azure also.
oh,
So
that's been great.
currently we are in the POC mode. So
Okay,
we
great.
just install the Palo Alto VM series, and we
Okay.
are working with the site-to-site VPN.
Okay, so we'll be covering S2S as well as the P2S here. Express route erosion, we have some kind of a limitation we have because we don't have an edge server. But I'll cover the um, theory or the concept here with a presentation and the simulation here. I'll not be able to do the complete implementation here because edge server normally we don't have that one. So I'll try to cover the express route here.
Okay.
Great. So thank you, Roshan.
Thank you.
Great. I think we can move to the technical side here. I think we are just given a quick intro from each and everyone here. At least everyone has been start working on in a IT background. A few people are into the networking background, few people are into the security side, and a few people are it's been from a system administrator role here. So today we'll be having a small workshop. on and how to build a server on in Azure VM here, because you may be using servers for a quite long time. That's maybe running on in a on-premises infrastructure, which has been on in top of your Cisco UCS or a Dell servers or a PowerEdge servers, right? So in another 1 hour, we'll try to have a small discussion on how practically you can able to build a server on in a cloud platform. Then we'll see how practically we can able to connect to the server also. And the next week onwards, we'll have a discussion from a scratch here. Possibly we'll take a two-step back here because we have a mix of batch here. So we'll start from a cloud fundamental, then slowly we'll discuss about subscription, management group, core component, and then we'll cover the compute side, network side, security, backup, DR. All that topic we'll cover in a uh, structured way here. Today, it's a small demo workshop. How normally we will be delivering the session here. And the topic for today's session, it's going to be the Azure compute here. So I just already given an intro from my side here. So the facility side, Gaurav is already given an introduction. We'll have a sessions on every weekends here, and all the materials or assessment question will be provided during the session or well in advance. That information will be getting very soon. And how the course or the training program we have been structured here. There are three way or the three methods we are using here. One, it's been like you will have a detailed theory discussion with the help of the presentation. It's been delivered. Second one, you will have all this discussion will be done on in a live simulations here. So we have a live labs are available here. So with the help of the live lab, we'll be discussing about implementation of the services with a case study here. And third, you will have an assessment also in each and every training for doing a self evaluation. So that mark we are not publishing anymore. We'll be sharing the question in a PDF format. Once the module has been completed, we'll be giving the material. Then we'll be giving a assessment question also, so that you can evaluate yourself how confidence level you are on in the module here. So that is the way the session is been planned here. So let's start with the first topic here. It's called Microsoft Azure Compute here. So let me ask a question here. How many of them have been heard about a topic called compute here? Let me ask this question to Roshan itself. Roshan, what is your understanding about computer? Or if you hear a word called Azure VM, what is your understanding?
So for the VM, we can say that on the physical servers, we are creating the VMs for the distribution of the memory, RAM, and other requirements. So,
Okay. So your understanding, um, your physical server, it's going to be replaced on an Azure platform. And the name of the server, it's generally it's been calling as a virtual VM, all right? VM. That's maybe the understanding about a compute here, right?
yeah.
Great. Super. Now, when we had a discussion about a cloud computing, a couple of points you may be already aware here. One point which you have been learned on in a cloud computing understanding or in your cloud understanding here, whenever you start using on in a cloud technology here, you have a entire infrastructure. It's been hosted on in a CSP here, right? I'm just giving a scenario here. If Sudeep has been implementing a server, for example, like one of the client has been looking for a SQL server in a legacy or in your existing infrastructure. The SQL server. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Agash. Request you to mute your mic. Gaurav, I need your help for muting his mic. Thank you. So I'm just giving a scenario here, Sudeep here. You're part of an organization. I'm just talking about a legacy kind of a scenario. Customer is been looking for a SQL server that needs to be created for a payroll application. In an on-premises scenario, how this has been implemented, there are two methods we were using, right? First method, you may be remembering, we may purchase a physical asset, right? That can be from a Cisco or it's like a Dell PowerEdge server, or it can be from a HP or HCL or a Lenovo. There are many vendors are available who normally it's been providing the physical asset here. One method we were following on in an on-premises side, on top of your physical server, you may implement your operating system using your DVD, or in olden days using a CD, or right now you have an option or called ISO image booting, right? With the help of a ISO image, we used to install the operating system, basically the server operating system. And on top of that, you may be implementing your applications here. So there is the one method of implementation on in your legacy mode. Second mode, you may be remembering, there is a concept available on in the market. It's known as a hypervisor here, right? With the help of a hypervisor, organization used to make utilize the India server, physical server here. Because if you take your on-premises server, if you're using the legacy method, or you may be using only 10 percentage or a 5 percentage of the total utilization. That the reason organizations are started using a concept called hypervisor here. You may be seeing there are many products are available in the market here. One product you may be seeing like it's called as a VMware or a vSphere. Second one you may be heard about Microsoft Hyper-V. So there are many products are available here, right? So with the help of that, you may be seeing like there are many products are available on in the market. With the help of a hypervisor, you are implementing a small VMs inside, right? But our Roshan said, you can have a flexibility to create the server with the help of the hypervisor here. And this server, it's basically known as a VM here. Now, if you take your on-premises method or the way how it's been implemented, your existing infrastructure or asset, it's been hosted inside your on-premises here. That basically known as a data center or data room here, right? So you maybe heard about a concept called data center, or you maybe heard about a concept called data room here. That means the asset, the server or the operating system, or in a infrastructure point of view, we used to use a word called the entire data center stack layers, right? The entire stack layers has been managed or owned by Azure. So in case if there is any kind of a technology refreshment is being needed, tomorrow we may be saying like, hey Robin, your server is been not performing well. I want to do some vertical scaling here. Who will be responsible for that? Robin will be responsible for doing a technology refreshment through vertical scaling or horizontal scaling here. Or they were saying like, no, I want to configure some kind of availability mechanism, because if server is been going on in a uh, some kind of a critical issue, immediately I want to get some kind of a failover here. How practically it's been done? The high availability concept or fault tolerance here. So in the case of a on-premises or colocation or your existing data center or a data room technology, high availability technology refreshment, or in the finance side, all the complete investment which you're doing on in the server side or the asset side, that's called capex here, right? So the entire capital expenditure it's been owned by Azure, and even you are getting a operational expense also. That means there is a opex also it's been involved here. So that is the way the entire configuration is been done on in your legacy technology here. Now, when you go back on into the cloud side here, we understood a cloud it's been working in a kind of a pay as you go model here, right? So it's similar like your Uber, right now we are using a Uber here. So whenever you are using a Uber service, you may be remembering you're not worried about paying the EMI, you're not worried about filling the fuel, you're not worried about the insurance here, right? So when Vishal it's been consumed the or it's been used the service of a Uber, once your trip has been over in your application, you may be able to get the information like how many kilometers you have been traveled. Based on the rate card, it depends upon the CT or the waiting charge. The vendor may be giving you a price here. So similar kind of a technology, it's been adopted on in a cloud side also. It depends upon the consumption of your resources. So whatever resources which we were using on in your on-premises, all the resources Microsoft or the cloud service provider will be giving on rent here. So you can able to opt it here, and based on the service you are opting, there is a different metrics values are available. For example, like where I'm using a different metrics value, because each and every services or a product which you are hosting on in a cloud side, it's got a different billing strategy. For example, like firewall, how firewall cost is been calculated, it depends upon what is the model you have been opted. It depends upon how much data you have been transferring through inbound or outbound here, or when it is coming on in a server side, server billing, it's been calculated how many minutes you are using here, or when it is coming on into the storage side, it's basically the capacity based billing it's been happening here. So each and every service which has been consumed or it's been used on in a cloud, it depends upon the services we have to pay the bill here. So in a nutshell, your cloud, it's been working on in a pay as you go model here. So we understood the moment if Robin or Vimal or a Pavan or a Gaurav has been used any service on in a cloud side, technically this has been hosted on in a Microsoft data center here. Now let me give you a demo here. Then I'll move on into the compute side here. I'm just trying to implement a server. One of my client is saying like, hey Robin, I need a server for my payroll application here. Let me show you a demo how the on-prem and the cloud it's been working here. Let me show with the help of a demo here. Right now you can able to see I have been connected to the Microsoft portal here. So similar like the console, you can consider or you can compare like similar like your Amazon Prime Video or a Netflix or your Z, right? So you have a OTT platform, right? Similar way you can see in case if you want to use a cloud platform, you have a browser or a GUI portal is been getting. With the help of that, you can able to connect it here. So technically, if you see here, I'm just trying to implement a server here. Then I'll come to this management tool. I'm just trying to implement one server. Let me try to implement one server. It's called test server or payroll application. Give some name here. No need to worry about the options here because we have a detailed discussion has been coming. I'm just trying to set up one server here.
Oh,
I'm just,
oh,
hey Satyam, good morning. You want to say something?
ଏବେ ନାହିଁ ଏବେ ମୁଁ ତ-
Look like it's by mistake it's been enabled the mic. So team, I'm just trying to show you one server here. No need to worry about the option because we have a detailed discussion has been coming. Let me show you one demo of a server here. So I'm just trying to create one server. No need to worry about all this option. I'm just discussing. Right now, let me show you how practically there is a server is being implemented here. You can see here. It's been created. I'm trying to create a server here. Currently, the server we are trying to create on in a Azure platform here. I'm just trying to do a comparison between how a server is been implemented on in a on-premises versus how the server is been implemented on in a cloud platform here. Right, I'm just trying to implement here. You can see this status or the progress report you can see on in the notification area here. There is a bell icon you can see here where you can see the progress details here. Let's wait. Great. So you may be able to see here, there is a deployment. It's been completed here. Now, if you go back onto the server here, let me ask this question here. Right now we have implemented a server which has been named server 1. You may be able to see on the screen here. Team, can you tell me what is the server is being implemented here? Is it implemented on a networking data center or a data room, or is it implemented on in a Microsoft data center here? Can you comment it on the chat? Let me see the response from everyone here. What do you think? What is the server is being implemented? Is it implemented on in the Microsoft data center, or is it implemented on in the my own data center here? Can you comment it on the chat? I can see there is a one response here. Sunil is saying like this has been implemented on in the Microsoft side here. Roshan also has been commenting the same thing. I can see the same response from Satyam also. I request everyone to be participate on this discussion here. You can comment it on the chat here. Yes, it's on the Microsoft data center here. Great, super. Now, if you take this scenario here, have you purchased any physical server? No, right? It's not purchased anything from our side here, right? See here, I have got access to the Microsoft data center here. It depends upon the service I have opted a implementation here, and finally it's when then triggered on in the Microsoft data center here. And based on the consumption here, how many minutes I'm going to use this server, based on that I have to pay the money to the Microsoft here. Similar like your Uber or similar like your Netflix, it depends upon your usage. I may have to pay the money to the Microsoft side here. So when it is coming on to the cloud side here, we understood it's been working kind of a pay as you go model here, and we understood the implementation or the solutions are implemented on in the Microsoft data center rather than it's been hosting on our own data center here, right? So possible like we can say your legacy data center concept, right? If you take this model here, in a previously it's been working on in a on premises one. This is completely it's been replaced and it's been migrated or it's been implemented on in the cloud side here, right? That means you don't need to worry about a capex here, right? So that means if tomorrow if Satyam or Shubham or a Kiran it's been implementing any servers, the implementation it's been happening on in the Microsoft side, and there is no capex from our side here. That means well in advance, Snehal or Robin, we don't need to invest anything on into the data center here. In case if I need a server or in case if I need a service, I can go and implement, or in case if I don't need that also. For example, like I'm taking a scenario, now my project is been over, so I can just go to the portal here. Now I can just select the server here and I'm saying like, thank you, Microsoft. I don't need this server here. I'm deleting this here. See, whenever I don't need the server, it's been easy for me to decommission also. So the moment when you are decommission, how many minutes I have been used the server, I have to pay only that amount here. Now you can compare if this would have been done on in on premises. In case if I don't need a server, that's going to be a debt asset for me, right? Because in case if the project is been not green, or in case if the server is been not needed, in case if you're not using, that's going to be a debt asset for the organization, right? Now in a cloud side, on demand basis, people can able to go and implement the server here, and in case if they don't need, they can able to decommission. And in case if I need to do any kind of vertical scaling or horizontal scaling, I have an option for upgrading also. That means tomorrow someone is coming and saying if the server needed 2 GB or a 4 GB or additional RAM or a CPU or any additional configuration, it's been easy for me to upgrade it here. Make sense? I can able to see like I have an option for upgrading it. There is option for I can do the vertical scaling, or in case if I don't need, I have option for downgrading also. So that is the way it's been hosted on in the Microsoft side here. Now you maybe notice a couple of points here. When we done this delivery here, the first point, how this has been done here, it's been implemented on in the cloud side. You are sitting on in a Punjab or Delhi or Melbourne, or it's like Kochi or a Chennai, and how the connectivity has been made here. Deva, what do you think? How the connectivity has been made? You may be sitting on in a Delhi or a Chennai. How practically you are going and implementing this one?
Through internet access?
Yes. So one method, you are using a internet method with the help of that it's been connecting here. It's not that Dev is going and asking a manager saying that, hey, I want to implement a server in the US region. Give me a visa, right? Give me an on-site opportunity, right? Because if it is on premises, you maybe done that one, right? But when it is coming on into a cloud side, the connectivity method, Deva or myself or a Sudeep or a Kiran, how normally it's been done? We're using an internet connection. You are connecting through different management tool here, right? So you have an internet option can be used here, or you may be able to use another technology or a connectivity method. I think Satyam or Sudeep, someone has been mentioned few minutes before. It's not as a VPN technology here, right? I think Roshan, right? So it's called virtual private network here, right? You maybe heard about. There are three type of VPN technology Azure has been supporting here. One it's known as a P2S. Second one it's known as S2S. Another one it's known as a Azure Express route also. We'll have a detailed discussion around uh, VPN technologies here in your network security modules. So at least you need to understand in case if you are hosting any service on in a cloud side, technically this has been hosted on in the Microsoft data center and you are not investing on in the asset side here. Only you are using the OPEX model. That means the pay as you go model and the connectivity from your home to or your office to the cloud side. It can be done using your internet connection or you can able to make use of your VPN technology here. Is that point is been clear? I'll pose it here. Any questions from anyone so far? If you're good, can you put a like button? If you're good, I hope you are able to follow me and you can put a like button here. I can see there is a one comment on in the chat from a Harsh here. Harsh is asking like, is there any possibility to the bilingual language? Harsh, you can guess if you want to ask a questions or a doubt on in Hindi or Tamil or you can ask or Malayalam. There's a three language I can understand. So in case if you want to ask a doubt, you can use that one here, and or else you may have to type it in the chat here. Okay. So the delivery we have been opted. It's the English here for this batch. So the question, if you want, you can ask it on the this three languages here. Any other questions from anyone so far? Sudeep, Roshan, Satyam, Deva, Kiran, Pavan, Shubham, Raghav. Raghav, your intro has been pending. Possibly we'll do in another discussion. I hope you are good
You're
with this one.
talking about the servers. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, what about the router firewalls? What is, unable to get that point.
Okay. We are not discussing anything about a router or the routing concept here. That's all Deva has been coming
Okay.
inside this cloud infrastructure. Right
Oh,
now, Deva, we have been discussed how practically you have been implemented a server on in a on-premises scenario and you're trying to compare with a cloud scenario here. Deva, you may be remembering like in your college or in your school or in your office, in case if you want to implement a server, you may be purchase a server from a vendor, right? This can be from a Dell or a HP, agree? Or even your laptop if you take, right? You may be purchase here. On top of this, you are installing your SQL database here. And in case if you want to make a connectivity, you may have a multiple servers may be available in your office. And first question they were here, where exactly the servers are located here? Is it on in a Microsoft location or is it on your own office?
office.
Your own office. Okay, great, super. Now, who purchased this server? Is it purchased by Dell or is it purchased by Microsoft or is it purchased by Deva? Who purchased this server here?
Company or
Is your company or your IT team here. So technically, you are investing for a long term. That's called in a financial term. We are using a word called capex here, right? That means
Hmm.
you are aware there is a project is been coming for running a project. I need some IT asset. So you are invested on this part here. Agree?
Hmm.
Super. Great. Now for managing the server, you need uh,
Connectivity.
administrators. connectivity is the second. You need administrators also, right?
Correct, correct.
System administrator, or you need a license for this here. You need electricity for this here, and you need to ensure that you have a cooling facility, and all these options are available in your data center or a data room here. So there is a monthly, every month you have to pay the electricity bill, you have to pay the salary for this system administrator, right? We can consider all such kind of recurring expense under a category called operational expense here. In a short term, we used to use a word called OPEX here. So it's called operational expense here. So every month you have to pay, right? Every month you have to pay the salary of the administrator here. And who will pay this one? Is it paid by the Microsoft or is it paid by your company?
Company.
Company. Yeah. So you are paying a operational expense. You are paying a expense
CapEx
for
and
your
OpEx.
long capex also, right? So both it's been owned by your organization here. Great. Now, in case if someone has been coming and saying like they want to make a connectivity here, how practically you'll be doing? You may be using a device called inter-networking devices here. You already mentioned about some terms like a router or a switch or a hub. This kind of inter-networking devices will be using here, where this internet networking device will be hosted or it be configured in your own data center here, right? So this will be connected using RJ45 cable, or the connection may be terminating from your IO devices here. And finally, a connection is been coming here. Who will be
Correct.
managing this? The same system administrator
Yes,
or network engineer will be
ma'am.
managing this one here. Agree?
Agreed.
Super. So this is a physical asset here, right? You have access to this physical box or a physical asset here. So in the overall Deva, if you take this model here, this has been completely on and hosted and managed inside your data center or a data room here. Agree to this point?
Agreed.
Super. Great. Now, if we can recall our previous simulation here, you have implemented one server here, right? You maybe remember like I have been connected to a browser, Google Chrome. In a Google Chrome, you may be seen like I have been typed portal.azure.com. This will be given a connectivity or a console similar like your Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. And this is basically a connectivity to the Microsoft data center here, right? Agree?
Agreed.
Yes. Okay. So the moment when you implemented a server on in the Microsoft side here,
Okay.
have you purchased any physical server? No, right?
No.
Hello. So
Hello.
sorry, there is a network flap. So there is a network flap happen. So I will example here. You are using a server on in on premises. Server is been implemented on in the your own location here. Physically you will purchase here. But the moment when you move on to the cloud here, you are not taking a physical asset here. Physical asset it's been purchased by the Microsoft here. You are implementing on top of that here. So your ownership is been coming only on the virtualized part here. Make sense? And the connectivity which you are trying to do inside your Azure side, that will be replaced by a switch. Whatever switch we are using here, that will be replaced by another service called VNET here. There is a
Okay.
concept. You may be remembering in a Hyper-V or in a VMware vSphere, we used to use a concept called vSwitch, right? So similar kind of a virtualized method we are using on in a cloud also. That's called VNet here. So your routing or your connectivity normally will do with the help of a virtualized network services here, like a VNet or a firewall or NSG, application security group. This kind of virtualized component will be used here. There is no physical component. All
Okay.
the physical component that will be on in the back end where Deva it's not having any kind of visibility. You will
Okay.
be getting only the service side here. So the
Okay.
moment when you trigger, it will go and enable on in the back end here, and It's been not implemented on into the physical side by administrator, and that will be handled on in the backend here.
Okay. I think there is a separate charges for every services, right?
Every service, there is no free lunch there here. Each and
Okay.
every services which you are using here, you
Hmm.
have to pay the money here.
Okay.
Clear?
So we can,
Yeah, please,
just a
please.
question. So we can compare VNet with the switches or the firewalls or the router. It is similar to that.
Your VNet can be similar like your switch, Roshan here, and
Okay, only for
we cannot say it's an exact replacement for a vSwitch or a firewall here. For our understanding, I just made it's a basic in a common man. It can be
okay.
similar like your switch here, but our properties which we are getting on in a switch, almost all the function it's been provided by the VNet here. All the security feature we are enabling with the help of native firewall, or there are other components are available called NSG or a application security group.
Okay. So all the components called as VNet, whether it is the firewall or
No, no,
the
no, 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 no. Each and every services, it's a different terminology we are using here. VNet is just a connectivity, or we can say, Roshan, this can be the replacement of your hub or a switch here. How the connectivity has been normally it's been made. You may
okay.
be taking a cable and you are being connecting here, right? Similar way, VNet will act like a switch or your hub. Any VM or a server which have been configured here, that will be terminated to this VNet. This will be responsible for providing a connectivity to in and out here.
Okay, okay, I understand. Like the Nexus switches we are using for the server.
Exactly, exactly. In case if you want to
So we
show
can
you this,
create the VLANs also in this VNet.
there is no concept called VLAN, Roshan, on in Azure here. The concept we are using, or we can say the equivalent service for your VLAN, it's called as a subnet here. You can able to create isolated environment here with the help of a concept called subnet here. There is no concept of VLAN. VLAN or a VLAN tagging, VLAN number, which normally we used to use it on network devices. Even
Mhm.
Roshan, you may be remembering on in a vSphere, right? VMware also we used to use that concept. This is not available here. So possibly I can show you here, Roshan. Here, let's take a
Okay.
two scenario here. Since you asked this question, let me go you a example here. For example, like you are part of a project. We'll take a two scenario here, Roshan. One it's been like your server A, and second one it's been like a server B here, and server C. In a on-premises scenario, I'm not talking about a cloud here. In a on-premises scenario,
Your voice is breaking, actually.
no, I just muted here just for a second because I was coughing. So I was saying here, in a on-premises scenario, in case if you want to make a connectivity here, how the connectivity is been made. One option you can able to connect the cables like this here, right? But this practically it's been not possible, right? Because if you
Mhm.
take a scenario where you want to connect 500 devices here, it's not possible to connect a cable between all the 500 servers here, right? That's the reason like you are using a V switch or a VLAN or a physical switch or a hub here, right? You may be remembering, you may take a physical switch here, and on the physical switch using a cable you will be connected here. This is the connectivity you are using on in a on premises. This been agreed, Roshan,
Yeah, understand.
Deva, Snehal, everyone. So you may be remembering this is the kind of the topology, or this is the kind of the structure we used to follow on in the on premises side. Agreed? Great.
Agreed.
Yes. So I am just mentioning this is like your hub or switch or router here. Now let's go and see how this has been done on in a cloud side here. So similar kind of implementation. Let's try to replicate on in a cloud side here. Let me go back onto the portal here, portal.azure.com. Let's try to create a three VMs here. Give me a second. Great. So no need to worry about this options here, how to create it here. We have a separate module is been coming called Azure Compute and availability. There will be discussing about that. Let me show you one example here, how practically three servers are connected here. You can just go to the portal here, production. Let me give a server one. And you may be able to see there is an option here called regions also here. This may be another benefit of your cloud computing. Microsoft has been providing data center across the globe here, almost 60 regions, or it's like 140 plus location. They have their own data center and data rooms are available here. What is the advantage of that? Because this will help you to host your service close to your end user here.
And,
Tim, you may be remembering on in your
one more question I have, just
go ahead.
if we put some servers in US East and some servers in some other location, so they will come inside one resource group or they will be in different resource groups.
You can keep it on depends upon the complexity, how you want to organize your resources also.
It is
Roshan,
possible to
you can
inside one
possible,
resource.
yes. Resource group is just a metadata here that can have a resource from any locations or any regions here. In
Okay.
resource group case, we can hold resource from any countries or any locations here. But Roshan, you need to remember when it is coming on in a VNET or a firewall or any other load balancer kind of a situation,
Hmm.
all the resource has to be on in the same location. We cannot have VNet on in a one country and your resource on in another country. That is not possible here. So it depends upon the service here. Since your question is specific onto the resource group, answering to your question, yes, we can hold resources, Azure resources from any regions here. There is no dependency issue. We can
Okay.
hold your VM can be on in a North Europe, or it can be on in a Central India, or it can be on in a Southwest, and your resource group can be on East US also. Doesn't matter. We can
Okay.
do any location. If you want to see here, my resource group currently it's in a production here, so you may have to create a resource group well in advance. Then you can able to select any locations here. Basically, the region Roshan has been giving a flexibility to avoid a latency issue, right? One of the break fix or in your BAU operation, every time you may get a ticket like, hey, my server is or a application has been not performing well. We are facing some kind of a latency issue here, right? That can be avoided with the help of implementing your service close to the end user or close to the business here. In case if your business from a US, there is no point of keeping your server on in a local locations here, right? You don't need to enable it on in your another country, right? So you need to ensure that this has been configured close to the end user here, so that will avoid all the kind of a latency issue, right? So this is giving a concept called global reach, Roshan,
Okay.
here. It's
Okay.
called a global reach here. But you need to remember one thing: each location we may have to pay different pricing here.
Pricing also.
It is something like I'll give you a scenario here. For example, like um, you're trying to have a possible, like I'll give a scenario like a Bikaner, right? So I'll take it, or it's like you maybe heard about Sharavana Bhavan, right? From a Chennai Sharavana Bhavan, you're trying to have a masala dosha. From
Yeah.
Chennai, you may get it for 150 rupees. And tomorrow you're traveling to Australia, Melbourne, and will you get masala dosha for 150 rupees? Same
Not much.
brand, no, right? Same thing here also. If you are implementing a server on in a East US location, and tomorrow if you're running on in a server, same configuration on in another location, pricing will be different here. So from an architect point of view, you may have to consider all these best practices or a different factors which will uh, turn different cost values here. So I'll be discussing all that kind of a best practices or a benchmark or what is the strategy as an architect you may have to adopt it on in your cloud side. We'll discuss it on in the modules here. Okay. So at least you can keep this point in the mind. You have a global reach facility on in a cloud side. This will ensure that you can able to host services on anywhere in the world, because Microsoft has got 140 plus location here. Even I'm not seeing this is kind of facility has been available on in a Alibaba or a Google or AWS. They don't have this kind of data center here. Only the Microsoft has got 140 plus location. Still it's been expanding also here. So I'll come back to the discussion point here. We have been diverted from a point how the connectivity has been made, right, Roshan? That may be the point you have been asking here.
Yeah.
How the
Right.
connectivity has been made here. I'm just giving you a scenario here. Now I'm just trying to select the operating system. This may be the another perception people have here. I have seen like people are having a perception like, hey, it's a Microsoft operating system, so it's been supporting only the Microsoft operating system only. No, you have a different kind of the operating system is being supported. This can be from a Linux platform. This can from a Unix platform. This can be from your other third-party products, everything it's been available here. See, the only option, you don't have any option for mounting your ISO image, or you don't have option for booting from your DVD. Everything it's been available on in a place called marketplace. From there you can able to load it here. Make sense? You have option for configuring from your marketplace here. Now
Yeah.
let me try to implement the server here. Let's try to implement. Just trying to just review and create. Now here you can see there is a in the top of the screen, you may be able to see there is an option called networking here, right? Here
Mm.
you are defining here. You are saying this is going to be my production switch, or we are not using a word called switch here. The right terminology as an architect on in a cloud side, you need to use a word called VNET here. So we'll be discussing about what are the common or the best practices to be followed by a SME on in the outage call, or in your when you are making a documentation also. What are the terms you can use it here? Because many times I've seen like people having always a confusion. They will use a VLAN, vSwitch. They will use a legacy terminology. So we'll be explaining very detailed on in our sessions what are the right terminology to be used on in a cloud side also. Because if someone is saying like a vSwitch or a VLAN, so the client may understand, oh, Roshan is not having a knowledge on the cloud side, right? Because he's new to this one, because that's the reason he's been using a legacy word, right? So we'll be explaining very detailed what are the terminology on in each services to be used here, what is the equivalent service has been available on in other cloud providers also. So that will give you some confidence. If tomorrow there is some kind of integration is been coming on in a multi-cloud, you will not be panic here. Oh, VNet is the word it's been used in Azure side, and Robin is side like equivalent component on in a AWS or a Google. It's been a cloud network or a VPZ. So that is the way we are planning to deliver the session. So you will get a some idea about other cloud providers also during the sessions here, because we are trying to do some kind of a comparisons as well here. So so that is the way the session is being implemented here. Now, Roshan, you can see we are creating a switch here, or we can use the word called VNet in a cloud scenario here. Here you will define your IP address here. See, I just connected here, reviewed and created here. Let's wait a moment here. It's been the deployment. It's been progress here. Right in the deployment, it's in progress here. Let's wait for a few minutes here. It will take a few minutes here. Right now, this has been implementation. It's in progress here. Let's wait. This is to complete. Right now, the deployment it's been completed here. It depends upon the region. There will be some delay in the implementation here. And team, on the chat, we have given a WhatsApp number. So whoever has been interested to enroll for this a scenario-based, practical-oriented session, you can use this WhatsApp link for the admission here. There is a link it's been given on the chat here. Great. So right now you may be able to see here, you have a first server has been implemented here. And Roshan, where is the server has been implemented here? You can see this has been implemented on in a East US location, right? Let me zoom it here. I hope you can able to see the server one. it's been implemented on in a East US location here, right? Roshan, I hope you can able to see, and Sunil,
Yes.
Shubham, Satyam, everyone, I hope you can able to see, right? The server has been implemented on in a East US location here. Now, in a East US location, see, there is a switch has been created here, see, or the VNet, that may be the right terminology here. See, there is a VNet has been created. Now, Roshan, you may be able to see, in a resource group's case, you can have the resource from any location, but on in a VNet case, your server and your VNet has to be on in the same location. You cannot
Okay.
have it on in a different locations here. So technically, what happened? You have implemented your server with the name called server one. It's been connected to a central hub or a central VNet, and we have been given name called prod VNet, and you have been defined what is the IP address to be used for that network here. We have been given name called prod VNet here. From this prod VNet, it's been released a IP address here, and technically the server has been connected to this switch here. See, if you go back here, your virtual machine, it's been on connected to this same network. You see the property. See, you may be able to see it's been connected. Yes, I hope you can able to see here, right?
Yes.
Now, what happened? The moment it's been connected, similar like your DHCP, from this network, there is a private IP address has been released. Yes, see, it's a 10.0.0.4. It's been released from ESC. It's been released from ESC, the range here. Now, what will happen if you connected other computer here on the same network? Only that computer, this will be able to communicate here. Tomorrow, if I'm connecting another server here, possible like a server 2, this will be getting, now this is a 4 here, right? This is will getting IP address 5 here. Only these two computers will be able to communicate bi-directional on in the same network here. And if you try to create another server called VM3, if it is on in another VNet, you won't be able to communicate here. In that kind of a scenario, you may have to enable a service called VNet peering. It's similar like your routing on in your networking terminology. You maybe heard about OSPF, BGP,
Yes.
EGRP, right? RIP, right? Similar kind of the service you need to enable with the help of a trusting called VNet peering. It is the concept we are using. It's known as a VNet peering here. Make sense?
So they are in the same data center, like same location. So
It
we
can
can
be any
do.
location. It can be any location. There is a two concept of peering it's been using here. One is called as a regional VNet peering. That means same data center you can able to peer each other. You can able to trust each other, or you can able to peer to another data center that may be on North Europe to East US. Because when you go back, Roshan, on in a real time scenario, your
Mhm.
database server may be on in a Chennai, your application server may be on in a East US or a North Europe, right? Don't expect that the client may be putting all the eggs on in the same basket, right? That is not the way the strategy we are being following on in a real time, right? You have the resources scattered across the globe here, so you need a connectivity between a data center across the Microsoft infrastructure, right? So that may be using a concept called VNet peering, that's called global VNet peering. In a reality, all these data centers are connected through a petabytes of network, but the access is not provided. Access is only provided the moment when Roshan is been enabled a VNet peering here. I'll show you this how this has been done. We
So
have a
we
live
run
simulation has been
OSPF
available.
or BGP, or it is similar to these kind of thing.
Similar kind of, yeah. The moment when you enable a VNet peering on the
Mhm.
back end in an engineering side, your routing is been enabled here. The moment when you enable, technically you don't need to go and enable a BGP here. The moment when it's been enabled peering, automatically the Microsoft will enable
So
the routing on the
we
back
don't
end.
have to configure these routing protocols.
No, 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 no,
Just
no.
we have to enable like plug
Yes,
and play.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Okay.
In case if you want to configure routing, there are three
Mhm.
type of routing it's been supported here. It's not as a system route, because if you take a in a legacy kind of a scenario, we have a different routing protocol is been supported, right? Similar way here also, you have a system routes are available. There is a concept called user defined route, that's called routing table. Using that, in case if you want to ensure that all the traffic has been redirected to a particular device or a particular location, in case if you want to in case if you want to, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So in case if you want to route a traffic to a particular device here, you can able to do a manual route also with the help of a UDR. Or in case if you want to enable a BGP, that has been possible through a concept called VPN gateway also. That has been possible here. So there are different methods or a routing mechanisms also available. With the help of that also, you can able to configure the different routing. Or in case if you are using a VNet peering, there is no manual intervention is being needed on in the routing side. Automatically, Microsoft will enable that one. Make sense?
Yeah.
Can I
We
ask a question?
separate module. Yeah. One more point, Deva. We have a separate module has been coming called data center to data center connection or internal intra-site or interconnection. There is a module has been coming, Roshan, here in the
Okay.
network connectivity side, and we'll be covering about subnet configuration. How do we isolate your infrastructure here with the help of a uh, network security component called network security group, application security group, routing. Then we have a concept called bastion service, DDoS. All that point will be covering on in the network modules here or a connectivity module here.
Okay.
Go ahead, Deva.
Yeah, actually, my basic question is, for suppose the server is integrated in US East Coast and one server is in India. So for that, we are using VNet configuration. You are saying that peering is automatically, when we enable that peering, it is automatically established. Okay. So for that, is there any manual requirement, like based on our requirement, is it possible to configure or it will take automatically?
Okay, I got your question. It's something like you are part of a project or in an organization where you have a two servers are available. One it's been located on in a Chennai or in India, other one in a uh, US location, right?
Hmm.
Great. So let me replicate that scenario on in the whiteboard here. Let's take it on in an on-premises scenario. We don't know anything about a cloud here. Let's take a on-premises scenario. There were, in case if you are implementing here, this is your East to West data center. This is your India data center. Tell me how the server will be connected here. You may be remembering
Yeah.
this is your DB server. Let's connect it as a server one. This server one will be connected to a network equipments in your East West data center, right? Possible like your switch or hub or a router here, right?
Uh-huh.
Agreed. Where
Agreed.
this has been completely, it's been located here. This has been completely available in your organization data center or a data room of your East West location. Agreed.
Agreed.
Agreed. So you will be connecting using a RJ45 cable or your IO box will be terminated here.
Hmm.
Agreed. Super.
Correct.
Now, when it is coming on in an India location, similar kind of a strategy. This is your second server. It's your app server. I'm just mentioning this is your server two. Are you going to connect your server to the same switch or
No,
you will
no.
have a separate switch here? You will have a separate switch here, right?
Hmm.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So you will have a separate switch available on in your India data center here. The
Hmm.
server will be connected to here, right?
Correct.
Agreed. Now, how this connectivity will be made? In between this switch or switch, you will
Hmm.
have a router will be available here, right? And
Correct.
this will be connected here, right?
Hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
And this will be connected using a cable also. And on top of the router, you may be enable your routing protocol.
Hmm.
Agreed, right? So this is the kind of the technology or this is the kind of the method you were following on in your on-premises or a legacy model here, right?
Correct.
Now let's try to replicate similar kind of things on in your cloud side here. In a
Hmm.
cloud side, I'm just scrolling here. In a east to west location, if you are trying to implement a server here,
Hmm.
I'll just write it as server one here. Previously, you have used a switch here, right? Now
Correct.
there is no concept of a switch here.
Hmm.
You will have a concept called VNet.
VNet.
Make sense?
Yes.
Great. So you have a VNet view here. So virtually this will be connected to this VNet here. Where is this been located? This will be located on in your East US location here. Agree?
Correct.
Super. Now you have an application server. This is your Chennai or a central India, and is your app server. This app server also not going to connect to this VNet here, because you may be noticed when we are trying to do Roshan's question, we understood your server and your VNet has to be on in the same location here. That means there you will have another VNet that will be created on in the same Chennai or in the India location. So this may be similar like this, right?
Okay.
Agree? Great. Now how the connectivity has been made here? Can we go and connect a cable here? Now they were informing a manager, oh, I want to make a connectivity here. I'll take a cable here from here through Arabic Ocean. I will go and connect to this
No.
VNet here. Is it possible?
No. No.
No, right? So what you will be using? You will be using Microsoft backbone fiber connectivity here, right?
Correct.
Microsoft has been connected all the data center across the globe, right? They have a 60 plus region, 140 plus location. They already have a backend network connectivity with a petabytes of connectivity has been made here. Already it's been available. Unfortunately, they are not given a access for you. Now, how the access can be done? On top of this VNet, you can just go and enable a service here. You will go to your network here. In the network, you may able to see there is an option here. See under the settings, I hope you can able to see there is an option called peering here, right? Right. So the moment when you click this add option, you are going and informing Microsoft, hey Microsoft, happy Saturday. I want to make a connectivity to this to data center here using your backbone. Please provide me the access. I'm going to ready to pay the money for the data transfer happening between these two here. I don't have a money to make a cable through the Arabic Ocean. I'll try to use your backbone network. I will pay the money for your service.
Okay.
Make sense? So the moment when you click this option called add, technically this will start using a Microsoft fiber connectivity. There is a routing will be enabled between these two here. Then only you can able to send the traffic, right? Because this may be using a 10 dot series, this may be using a 20 dot series, right? In your college days, you already understood in case different IP schema or CIDR block to be communicated, there is a routing is be needed here, right? So that's the reason you need to enable the peering. So peering will on in the engineering side, on the backend side, routing will be enabled. Makes sense now?
Okay.
I hope that question it's been clear now, right?
Yeah,
The answer is being solution is being clear to you, right?
Right. It is applicable to all devices, like server, security devices also. Firewall.
Even for every services here. So that is a central hub. There's a different topology or a methods we are following here. So each and every service has different strategy to be followed here.
So you mean to say the firewall will not come the VNet service?
No, VNet and firewalls are different here. Both are working hand to hand here. So the traffic which has been coming from a VNet, this will be connected to a firewall here. Now, the way you take a scenario here, you're part of an organization. Now, East US location, you may be seeing like a lot of server has been connected to the VNet here, right? Now you want to put a condition because daily morning, like you maybe notice like a Roshan is be using a server, using the server, Roshan is been connecting to Instagram. Daily has been watching YouTube on in the server here. So you need to block it here. Which service will be doing all such kind of activities? It's been the firewall here, right? So you can put a centralized firewall and you can mention any traffic has been originated through this VNet sent to this firewall to do a traffic filtering here. So any connection, it's going and coming here, that can be filtered URL based, or like you want to block some kind of a gambling or any other website. All that can be enabled on in a firewall here. That firewall will be working hand to hand with your VNet here.
Okay. Is there any separate name like VNET in the cloud for that firewall?
Uh,
Uh, you
if you
can.
take Deva on in a cloud side here, there is a option has been available called marketplace here. You may be able to see on the middle of the screen there is a search box here, right? If you
Mhm.
type it here, it's called marketplace. This will be taken to a online repository here. There you can able to see 8,000 plus applications. You can see the
I'm
products from
talking
my.
about firewall.
I'm
Is
coming
there
to the
any
firewall.
separate?
I'm
I'm
coming to that
like,
firewall here. I'm coming to the firewall here. If you
mm,
type it here firewall here,
mhm.
you may be able to see n number of the firewall products here. You may
Acha.
be able to see from Microsoft. You may be able to see the Palo Alto or Sophos, the Cisco. Many products you can able to see. Each and every product got different pricing tag.
Oh,
Depends upon the features you are going to get. Because whatever feature you are getting from a firewall may be not available on in a Sophos or a Cisco or a Palo Alto here, right? If you
mhm.
take a firewall here, Microsoft Firewall is got a lot of features here like IDPS, IPS, URL filtering, or like many features are available. Based on that, we have to pay the money here. So the name we are using it's called a native firewall here.
Acha. Okay. Sorry.
Right. So we'll pause it here for Q&A here, or in case if you have any general question related to the training or a module, and let's go for a discussion here.
Okay.
I have a question here.
Go
If
ahead.
like if like a VM is connected to a data center, for example, you say India East, yeah, and there is a redundancy on that data center at a specific time. So like we connected at that time, or like we in our resource group we have like two, three another options available as well. For example, if redundancy occurs in that, and it will connect automatically to that one. Like how it works. My question is that.
Yeah. By default, when Canva it's like you have been implemented on a VM on in a cloud side, Microsoft is been not provided by default redundancy here. You get it? So by default, there is no redundancy option. This needs to be enabled by the system administrator here. There are a lot of redundancy features been supported here. We'll be discussing on in a VM availability class, something called as a availability set, something called as availability set or availability zone. This is between different data centers here, or you may be hearing about a word called ASR here. That's called Azure Site Recovery here. This is a kind of a DR solution here, or there is a concept called Azure Auto Scaling. You may be heard about auto scaling here, right? So that is called as
Yeah.
Azure Scale Set here, or Microsoft has been interconnected all the regions each other as a DR here. That's called regional pair here. So regional pair is here, or you may be able to see there is another concept called PPG. That's called a proximity placement group here, or something called as a cross region load balancing here. There is a concept called cross region load balancing, and these are the few option we are using. Or you may be heard about a concept called Azure Friend Door, or there's a concept called traffic manager also. So you have to enable these services. Couple of the services we have to pay the money. Few services Microsoft is giving free of services also. You need to go and enable here. Until unless you are not enable here, you will not get a redundancy here. On top of that, you may have a backup also, Azure backup, or a third party backup like a Veeam or a Simanda backup also you need to enable in a production kind of environment also here. That's the way it's been implemented, Canva.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
By default it's been not available, and this redundancy has been available on each and every component level also. This is only for the VM here. Now if you go on into the um, other components here, it's called storage here. I'm just giving a storage here. You may be able to see the storage also got a lot of options here like Azure blob storage, or a file storage, or a queue, or a disk storage here. There is a redundancy methods we are using called as a LRS. That's called local storage, redundant storage. That means whenever you save any data, 3 copies by default it's been kept in a same data center here. There is another concept called ZRS here. That's called zone redundant replications here between a different data center. There is another concept called geo redundant replication here. There is another one. It's called read access geo redundant replication here. That's called RA. I remember it's RAGRS here. There is another concept called ZRS here. That's called geo zone redundant. Then another one is called RAGZRS here. We'll be covering all this topic here. These are the different redundancy mechanism on in a storage level. So each and every component conveyor is got a different redundancy or a FT or a availability mechanisms here. So your question was been specifically on the VM side. These are the mechanism we are using here.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So I think we have covered almost all the points here, and we are pasting a link, WhatsApp link on the chat here for getting an admission here. So the WhatsApp link is already covered, has been posted. I just reposted on the chat here. So please use that one here. Any questions from anyone? Great. So thank you, team. It was a nice interactive workshop discussion. At least we covered a few points here. More points and the case study or a scenario based questions are on the way on in the our class here.
Yeah, hi guys. So guys, tomorrow we have a sessions 11 a.m. So make sure you'll join on the same Zoom ID. There is no change in the Zoom for tomorrow. Then from next weekend we'll change it. Okay. So make sure you
Great.
follow the same Zoom ID for tomorrow, 11 a.m. Thanks,
Great.
Robin, and guys.
Thank
Hope
you,
you like
Gero.
the session.
Thank you, Gero.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you brief me what is this 104, 500, 700? What is this?
So, Deva, this is basically a module, like a one master program which we are delivering. This is basically for the network engineer. Once you're done with the 104 like administrator labels, then we have advanced thing which is AZ500 is a cloud security, which comes under firewall part.
Okay.
And then AZ700 is the networking part. What we are doing in CCNA, CCNP label, that part is there in that.
Okay.
Now everybody, every organization is adapting a cloud platform. So all the network engineer, whether they are a 10-year experience or 15-year experience, they are moving on the cloud side. And
Okay.
Azure is beating, like Azure is one of the best. They have solutions for every services.
Okay.
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 I shared my number. You guys can contact me. We can help you with the admissions and all. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Gero, I just pasted a roadmap also. This is the path normally organizations are adopting here. This is the right roadmap. Rather than jumping on into a security or architect side, this may be the right roadmap infrastructure engineer can adopt it here.
I think this is a certification also there, right?
Yes, the certification is there. Like after completing a training, you can adapt for certification also. That is with the additional cost. Like that certification means you're getting a certificate from the Microsoft.
The course duration is explained in the YouTube.
This is going to be a 6-month program for AZ104, 500, and 700. Okay.
What is this? AZ 305?
That's an architect one here. So this basically like we are just pasted one other roadmap, which normally the industry has been looking here, because people can go and write the architect also they were directly, but when you go back on into a real-time scenario, you will find a difficulty here. So we are not forcing for that because networking is always is like trying to mentor the people here. So that's the reason we made a structure here. In case if someone
this
needs
is
to need,
like a designing what we are saying in networking.
Yeah.
Okay. So hope you like the sessions. Let's close the session
yeah,
for today. Yeah. Thank you guys.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Happy weekend and